Robert Moore. My position is Supervisor of Leadership and Professional Development. I am in the Department of Teaching and Learning. I'll say the biggest challenge as a leader when talking about racism, especially as a Black man, and knowing the statistical numbers of people who look like me in leadership position across our state and across our country. The hardest part is always being looked upon as the expert just because I am a Black man. I wouldn't say it's not difficult, because I obviously can speak from that lens, but to be honest with you, sometimes it's tiring to be looked upon as, well, what do you think, Robert? Especially coming from a previous district where I knew I was going to be the only person that looks like me in the room, because it was a smaller district. But surprisingly, I still see that in Jefferson County, and I know we're making great efforts to change that, and that number is increasing. But we're still, especially in my department, we're still not there. So it becomes an area of fatigue for me, to be honest. For our district right now, I see this as being pushed as a priority. We've had the racial pillar for several years, along with Backpack of Success in Culture and Climate, and they are to work in conjunction with one another. But typically in the school system, the focus is going to be on teaching and learning, which falls under that Backpack of Success umbrella. But because of the state of our country, the state of our state, and specifically the state of our city, it's been pushed as a priority. And you're starting to see it become more fibrous. It's just not a checkbox. Oh yeah, I did the REAP. Oh yeah, I used the R tool for this unit. Oh yeah, I created my racial equity plan. Oh yeah, I looked at our scorecard. Check. It's no longer just a checkbox. It's starting to become fibrous across a lot of our schools. When pushing racial equity and thinking about the improving outcomes for students, the overall goal is to improve the academic achievement for our kids. But when you take a look at pushing racial equity, it's good for all students, not just for students of color. But it improves student agencies for our students of color, and it allows them to be advocates for their learning. And all of this is going to lead to improved student attendance, a sense of belonging, and ultimately student achievement. So I think this work will go a long way into improving student achievement. I'm working with DeJuan Williams on one element, is with the racial equity screener for future leaders in our district. We've given the screener to two leadership groups: aspiring leaders, a Spalding group, and emerging leaders, a group of instructional leaders going through a program designed to improve instructional leadership. But this racial screener asks them and requires them to collect data around 4 dispositions that we look for in leaders when it comes to equity. So my next step will be to collect the evidence and analyze the evidence that these future leaders are presenting, and give them some feedback on that, and to make sure that they're on the right path of becoming equitable leaders. I'm also a part of the implementation team to implement our digital curriculum. And right now I'm in the process of gathering a group to analyze the digital resource using the R tool and DEP resource teachers to make sure that it is culturally responsive and culturally sensitive to our students of color. My initial response when we get pushed back from staff, for one, that's disappointing, but from staff, community, and anyone that resists our racial equity pillar or our direction is at first I check their awareness. Are you aware that this has been a pillar for the past 2 years, and assess their knowledge on that pillar and on our racial equity plan. So I check their awareness first, and then I eventually lead them to the why. This is why we are doing this work. And while we, at the time it was developed, it was definitely an area of need, but the times and our climate and our state and city is now it's a have to. There's no longer do we need to do this work. We have to do this work for our city and for our students. What I've learned about myself is that I have a long way to go as a leader of this work. As a teacher, and even as a building leader, when I was principal, I was able to use my power of influence to lead a small community and leverage equity work with a small committee. But as a district leader, you have to think more systemically, and there are a lot of historical systemic hurdles and roadblocks that we have to overcome. So I just learned that I still I thought I could lead this work just just being being a Black man who's enlightened and empowered, but that's not enough. There's a lot of systemic roadblocks that we have to overcome. A message that I would like to deliver to our Indigenous and our students and people of color in our community is one that I've been away from Louisville for 20 years, pursuing my career in a small district, and I have returned wanting to set an example for our students of color. I wanted to be an example of one who was raised in the West End, attended one of the two West End schools of Shawnee High School, graduated from Shawnee High School, and have a lot of love for Shawnee High School. And even Central High School, even though it was my athletic rivalry in high school, have a lot of love for the West, because we have been ignored for years with resources and just attention of needs have been ignored for years, and it's just come to fruition right now with some of the challenges that we face. So I'm here to fight for all students, but you'll definitely see me out in a lot of our West End schools, making connections with our students.